Hey guys, Wannabe Ryan here with Wannabe Media, and today we are continuing on with our 25 days of prospects. I know what you're thinking, it's the 22nd, how am I going to get all this done? Instead of releasing 4 videos a day, we are going to do 4 players in one video. It's going to be very short, simple, to the point. Now that we're kind of getting towards the end of it, these players are very more cut and dry. It's not a whole lot to it. This is what this player is doing right now. This is what we think he can be. These players are more established as far as in the prospect pool. These are names that you guys have definitely probably heard of. Whether it's not me talking about them, it's definitely somebody else talking about them. So yeah, coming in at number 12 for me, Andre Gasso. Now, Andre Gasso is 20 years old. He's 6'4", 205 pounds, currently going to the #1 school in the country at Boston College Eagles. In 2021, he was drafted in the 7th round, 213th overall. His freshman year at Boston College, he was actually on the All-Bruins line. He was line mates with Oscar Yelovic and Trevor Kuntar. He had 10 goals, 19 assists for 29 points in 36 games played, and he looked very effective. He didn't look lost out there his freshman year of hockey. He looked poised. He was good in the corners. He wasn't really asked to do nearly as much as he is this year, but, that's a good thing for us, right? It's a good thing that now he's getting more responsibility. In his sophomore year, in 17 games played, he has 5 goals and 7 assists for 12 points. He's still on the same line as Oscar Yelovic. What I do like that he's kind of now implemented in is he's in special teams now this year. He's on the power play. He's getting even some penalty killing situations, stuff like that. Towards the end of the game, you're going to see Andre Gasso out there. And a cool thing for me as well is, you hear 7th round pick and you hear number 12 prospect in your prospect pool, and you're just like, how can that be, right? There's no way the Bruins are so good at all these draft steals. And I think the thing with Andre Gasso is he's going, at least for me, the #1 school in all of hockey right now. The amount of talent that they have going to this year's World Juniors alone is insane. Whether it's Will Smith, Ryan Leonard, Oscar Yelovic, Cutter Gauthier, Gasso. Their goaltender is Montreal Canadiens prospect. Their defense is really good. So, how can a 7th rounder, be in this mix? Well, the thing is, you get better when you play with good players, right? He's developing. There's a really good coaching system there. He's a coachable player. He's a coachable person. He's very likable. He's very well respected, and I think that's only helping him out grow. I think that's the reason he is number 12 for me, is because he's showing that he's coachable, he's showing that he's manageable, and he's going in there with open eyes, open ears, and just paying attention. He's doing everything that not only Boston College is asking him to do, the Boston Bruins are asking him to do, and I think he's going to develop into a nice little bottom 6 piece for us. If not, Andre Gasso, at 6'4", 205 pounds, if he can just continue to maybe grow on that physicality side of his game, I think he's going to have a bright future in the NHL. All right, so on this play here, we're going to see Andre Gasso, number 24 in white here. He's just kind of waiting for players to join the rush. He's got 3 guys on him there, and he's still able to make a play out of it, get it over to his wing. If you actually watch the play over again, we'll let it play over one more time. You're going to see that pass that he makes. Not only is it on his backhand, but he also does it one-handed, which goes ahead and shows you how strong of a player he is. And just shows you, the confidence that you have to be able to have to make. Yeah, they're already up 5-2 in the game, but just again, right here, waiting, playing keep away. That's 3 college athletes, D1 athletes that he's doing that against. To be able to have that kind of dominance, I just cannot wait to see what he can do at the AHL level, especially with plays like this. All right, now this next one is almost even a Oscar Yelovic highlight. You're going to see Yelovic right here hold that puck, and with the chemistry that they have, just pass that backwards to Gasso. The reason I counted as a Andre Gasso highlight, though, is just kind of showing you that he has a nose for the net, knows exactly where to go. He's following the puck. He's really good in his own offensive zone. But we are going to see this again because this play is just so slick. Yelovic is definitely one of my favorite prospects, so if I can throw in an extra clip of him, I definitely will. Plus, they're not only college teammates, but potentially Bruins teammates, so again, just what an absolute beautiful play. You have to have so much skill. BC, like I said, is so much fun to watch, guys. You guys definitely need to check it out. But just absolutely just cleaning up that garbage. But what a pass. Holy hell. Coming in at number 11 for me is going to be Luke Toporowski. Now, you guys have probably heard about Luke Toporowski. He's 22 years old. He was an undrafted free agent out of the WHL. We actually used him in the AHL for a couple seasons, And then we finally signed him to a contract this offseason. The way contracts can kind of work in the AHL is you can kind of get used and, you can play in games, sign an AHL contract, but you're not part of the organization. Well, now he is a part of our organization, so he is going to be listed in this. Last season was his rookie year in the AHL. And in 47 games played, he had 15 goals for 14 assists. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. 29 points in 47 games. He looked very promising. Last year, it was definitely more about skill, speed, his agility, his poise with the puck. He was really good on offense. He actually had a hat trick last year in his rookie season that I'll show you guys here in a little bit. This year, he was kind of hurt. Well, not kind of hurt. He was hurt. He's only played in 26 games. And in those 26 games, he has 6 goals, 7 assists for 13 points. Now, I know you hear 13 points, and you're like, well, wait a minute, he scored 29 last year. He's only played 26 games. And if you think about it, 26 and 13, why does that sound familiar? If you're doing your times tables, that's half. He is a half a point a game player right now in the AHL. So if he finishes out and he plays the rest of the season, I think it's like 70 games, we'll call it, he's going to get 35 points, which is better than he had last year. And more importantly about the points, when you're in the AHL, it's all about progressing, right? So is he working on the things that the coaching staff management is asking him to work on? I would say he is. He's part of the penalty kill now. He's starting to work on his defensive game and get better structure in all 3 zones because, the Bruins don't like half-ass players unless you're David Pastrnak scoring 60 goals in the sense of, you got to be able to work in all 3 zones. Look at Jake DeBrusk. Yeah, he's struggling this year, but at the same time, Jake DeBrusk is part of our penalty kill. He's good in his own zone. He's hard on the walls. He does the right things. And I think that Luke Toporowski needs to work on those things as well, and then he could probably be a part of Boston. I think he was a really good undrafted signing. He was really good in the WHL, very fast, very skilled. I like him. The reason he's not in my top 10 is just because it's hard to put him there. Not saying that I don't believe in myself at all, but there are definitely more people that have better eyes and things that, they've been in this business a long time, and this is something that I'm just starting to do, and something that I'm picking up that I really want to do and further myself in. And I'm not saying that I piggyback off of other people's opinions and whatnot. However, from what I can kind of just tell and concur from even just other prospect pools is, it's so hard to sit there and say, well, we got this undrafted rookie and he's one of our top prospects, right? The Bruins already have a couple that we'll talk about in later videos, and Farinacci and Merkulov. So it's how many undrafted free agent rookies are we going to have that are just top prospects, right? So for me, I like Farinacci and Merkulov a little bit better. I think if Toporowski can better work on those defensive zone abilities, that's what's going to get him in the top 10 maybe next year. All right, guys, so I kind of alluded to it earlier in the video, but this is Luke Toporowski's hat trick in his rookie year of the AHL. Look at that confidence, being able to get that puck, get it on your forehand, and just being able to throw it up top. This is my favorite goal out of the 3 that he has. Just look at the wheels on him, just being able to go, get that puck, get it all the way to your backhand, and then just shove that thing home. It makes the goalie look absolutely foolish there. Just what a move. Again, rookie year in the AHL, and to be able to have that confidence in yourself is pretty awesome. And this is going to be number 3, Koppinen there. Bruins legend gets it there. And then from there, just grab the puck and just sweep it in. Alrighty, guys, and this is actually that shorthanded goal I was talking to you guys about. 16 in white, he's coming down right here. Shoots that thing right at the top of the circle. Being able to get a shorthanded goal like that's pretty miraculous. Just also shows how aware he is when he's on the ice. So coming in at number 10 for me, this is, and I'm kind of already starting to smile. So I have 2 favorite prospects, and they're not the number 1 or not even top 3. I have one prospect who is just I think is the most underrated prospect that we have. We'll talk about him a little bit later. I see big things for him. And then this prospect here is just, his name is what started it. And then from there, just watching him play and just watching, his style of play and him being a Bruins fan growing up. I don't, again, if I was working for Nesson or working up in the big leagues, something like that, it's kind of hard to show favoritism, but I can do that on YouTube with, under 20 subscribers. So for that being said, coming in at number 10 for me is Jackson Edward. Now, Jackson Edward, not the son of Jack Edwards, no relation. He's actually from Newmarket, Ontario. He is a 19-year-old, 6'2", 192 pounds. In 2022, was drafted in the 7th round, 200th overall. The adjective that EliteProspects.com uses for him is that he's violent. How awesome is that for a hockey player, right? But I've seen the way he plays, and I've watched in the OHL, and I've seen him in the Prospects Challenge last year to this year, and I see the growth. I see the growth in his skating and his confidence and his ability to get the puck out of his own zone. He's really good with stretch passes. He's not afraid to have the puck, and as someone who's listed as like a defensive defenseman and is violent, like you would think he kind of doesn't want that puck on his stick, but he doesn't mind it. He's okay with it. He trusts in himself to be able to move the puck out of his own zone, which is huge. He actually this season already signed his entry-level contract, so there's no worry there about if he's going to sign his contract or not. He is 19, so kind of like the same thing with Patra. Again, he doesn't have nearly enough skill to be in the NHL this year. Not Patra, Edward we're talking. I do think he'll be in the AHL coming in next season. If not, I don't think he's going to continue with the London Knights. I think taking that next step, especially if he just continues to progress, is the right thing for him. In his draft year, he played 56 games. He only had 6 points, 6 assists, no goals. It was a very clear-cut reason why he was drafted in the 7th round. Last year, however, in 65 games played, he had 5 goals, 20 assists for 25 points. He had 110 penalty minutes. Again, that's that violent coming out at him. This year, though, in 31 games played, he's already matched his goal total for last year. He's got 5 goals, got 9 assists, and he's on pace to break his last year's record for penalty minutes because he already has 52, and the season's not even halfway over. So I do think he's got a lot to work on. He's still a project. He's my favorite project. I really hope that we can see him, kind of a third pair penalty-killing, shutdown defenseman. I'm going to show you guys some clips. All right, so here we got Jackson Edward on the power play. We're going to see him protect the puck there, and then he's just going to throw this thing on net for a goal. Being able to get that power play time in London is going to be huge for his development. But again, I just love that nifty little move he makes there to keep that puck on his stick and then just rifles that thing home. We'll watch it one more time in real speed. But again, for his size to be able to do that, if he can translate that to the NHL, we got a real steal on our hands. All right, now this is one of those hits we were talking about. Look at that. He has the form of it's going to be a hip check, and then all of a sudden he just goes ahead and, goes up on him. Probably a little too violent for the NHL, but for the OHL, I guess it doesn't matter as much. But, yeah, what a fun player. Now, this one is actually really cool. Ooh, okay, so you see that hit right there? That's Matthew Patra last season in the OHL. Just absolutely annihilates him. And yeah, that does it for Jackson Edward. Coming in at number 9 for me is Jonathan Myrenberg. Now, Jonathan Myrenberg is a 20-year-old prospect, 6'3", about 196 pounds, from Sweden. Interesting fact with him, if you guys were like, wait a minute, we never drafted a player named Jonathan Myrenberg, you'd actually be correct. He was a part of last year's trade with Jack Studnicka going over to Vancouver. It was actually very surprising because when that whole trade went down, everyone was like, okay, Jack Studnicka for goaltender Michael DiPietro makes sense, but why is Vancouver already giving up on Jonathan Myrenberg just to get Jack Studnicka? A lot of Canucks fans were upset about that, and when I heard that, I was kind of excited. Fans don't normally get too upset about prospects that were drafted in the 5th round. They get upset that they're already losing them. So the fact that Canucks fans were already upset about it, kind of starts making you lick your chops that we got something here. I do think he is better than a 5th round draft pick. I think he's developed quite nicely into a player. He's very good at puck moving. He's very good in his own zone. He's got a really good stick. He's got good vision on the ice. He's just an all-around good player. The reason he's at number 9 for me and not any higher, though, is he's actually in a little bit of a tricky situation. I'll talk about it after we look at these clips, though. All right, guys, so let's pay attention to 28 in white here. You're going to see him pass the puck over to his partner, gets the puck back. Right here, makes a man miss. Instead of passing that puck up, keeps it on his stick, makes 2 men miss, and then he loses the puck at the end. But, again, he's 19, 20 years old, being able to go ahead and do moves like this. We'll watch it one more time, just zips right through him. Even then, could have passed it to somebody else, get ready, but he's not afraid to take the offensive zone, which is important. Now here, number 8 in white, this is going to be him on the SHL. That's his first goal in the SHL this year, Jonathan Myrenberg, as you see there. Go ahead and rifles that thing home. He's not afraid to be in the offensive zone. Really good, really skilled. You see it there, just an absolute cannon of a shot. Really beautiful shot, perfect placement. Talking about that sticky situation he's in, so the SHL and the NHL have a new agreement starting in 2022 that for all unsigned players that have been drafted in the second round or later have to either play in the NHL or they have to play in Sweden until the age 24. So, if you guys know anything about the way contracts work, is after you're drafted, you have about 3 years until you can sign your contract, and if you don't, you become a free agent. So, drafted in 2021, he would need to sign his contract this upcoming offseason, and he hasn't done that yet because he just signed a 2-year extension with his SHL club Linkoping. Hopefully I said that right. The problem with that is we'd like to have him in Boston. Now, the Bruins could sign him out of that contract. They could get him out. They can get him out one of two ways. They could either sign him to his ELC. He's going to count towards the roster, towards that 50. Only can have up to 50 signed players in the AHL, NHL. So he would count against the 50. So they could sign him and then loan him back to Sweden until he's 24, which is kind of unlikely because, teams like to have close to that 50 mark. And if you're going to be one of the 50, they'd like for you to be used in some sort of capacity. And the other option is for him to get loaned to the AHL. Now, the problem with that is they would have to shell out, I believe it's about 50% of his contract goes over to Linkoping, and then he gets to play in the AHL. So, are the Bruins either going to shell out the money for Jonathan Myrenberg to play in the AHL, or are they just going to loan him for Sweden for about the next 4 seasons? Only time will tell, and I think that's what has him for me at number 9, because I don't want to sit here and say, oh, well, top 5 prospect for me is Jonathan Myrenberg, and he never plays a game, right? I want to get players that are a little bit closer, having a chance to sign in Boston, and to be honest with you, I don't know, because if he is 24 years old and is just really good in the SHL and it's time for him to come over here and play in the NHL, is he going to pick Boston? There's 32 teams. All of a sudden, he's a free agent, right? He wasn't drafted by us. He wasn't developed by us. He doesn't have, any ties to the community, anything like that. There's no real reason for him to pick Boston if he doesn't want to. So it's kind of a tricky situation. But again, only time will tell. That does it for me today. I hope you guys like this video. Liv, hit my music.